But I'm going to do the difference first on this one. So I'm going to think of this as the cosine of 150 minus 45. Okay, so if I think of it this way, then when I break it down using the difference identity for cosines, my cosines are going to stay together. So cosine of 150 times the cosine of 45, opposite sign, so plus. My sines stay together, 150 times the sine of 45. Okay, and so when I look at my unit circle here, I need to find 150, which is almost to 180. Negative root 3 over 2 for my x, and my y is positive 1/2. 45 is root 2 over 2 for both. And then when I evaluate here the cosine, I get negative root 3 over 2 times the cosine of 45, root 2 over 2. Sine is plus, and then the sine here, 1/2. The sine here, root 2 over 2. And so when I simplify this, I get negative root 6 all over 4, and here I get plus root 2 all over 4. And so my solution is negative root 6 plus 2, or plus root 2 all over 4. Okay. Right, when you are looking at 525, this one is going to require the sum. So if you add two angle measures whose total sum is 525, again, it might be different than what I chose. But I'm going to choose 300 plus 225. And so when I set this up, I'm going to take the cosine of each angle, so 300 cosine of 225. And then it's the opposite sign. So I took the sum here, I'll take the difference here. Keep the signs together, sine 300 times sine 225. So here's my the sum identity for cosine. If I look on my unit circle at these two angles, here's 300 degrees. I have an x coordinate of 1/2, a y of negative root 3 over 2. And then at 225, so 225 is right here. So I have my x coordinate negative root 2 over 2. My y coordinate also negative root 2 over 2. And so when I set these up and plug in, my cosine of 1/2, my cosine of 225 is negative root 2 over 2. And then my minus the sine of 300 is negative root 3 over 2. And the sine of 225 was negative root 2 over 2. And so when I simplify these, the negatives here cancel. I get a negative root 2 over 4. My minus still stays here. Root 3 times root 2 is negative root 6 over 4. So I get a negative root 2 minus root 6 all over 4. And so that would be my simplified form based on the angles that I chose to decompose 525.